Hello and welcome. Today's quilting project started with this adorable unicorn print. I was really excited that I was able to find some pink and blue polka dot fabrics to be secondary colors. And finding something to tie into the brown was a little trickier, but I found this pink and brown houndstooth that matched almost perfectly in the clearance section. Today I'll be using 6x6 squares, 6x2 inch squares, and 2x2 squares. The final quilt pattern will be a pink and blue checkerboard with unicorn print borders in between each square. I started by sewing together the top row like so, facing right sides together, and then I made the exact same thing 3 more times. Because my border fabric is darker than the checkers, I pressed each seam towards the border. Next, I will take 2 of these strips and rotate them 180 degrees to continue my checkerboard pattern. It is now time to assemble your 2x6 strips and 2x2 blocks into a long strand 3 times. You will press your seams in the opposite direction of whatever you did in the last pressing step. Next, sew your rows together and press your seam allowances in the direction that makes the most sense. It's now starting to look like a quilt. Now I will cut 2-inch long strips and attach them right sides to right sides along 2 sides of the current quilt. I will press the seam allowances down towards the darker edge. Then I'll attach 2 more strips to the remaining 2 sides. These 2 strips will be longer than the previous ones as they span the full width of the quilt. In a similar fashion, attach your binding fabric from corner to corner along each side, leaving lots of excess. Fold this over and sew down a mitered corner. Trim off and remove the tails. Here's a closer look at that edge. It's of course sewn right sides to right sides. And now that it's time for batting, Hobbs has of course made herself at home inside of it. Can I help you? After cutting the backing and batting to size, I sandwiched all 3 layers together, rolled the binding over, rolled the raw edge of the binding under, clipped thoroughly, and sewed, ensuring that I had all layers underneath my stitch. For the final step, I took a matching yarn and sewed at every 2x2 square right through the middle through all layers of the quilt. I double tied this and trimmed the edges. And here's the final result. I'm super excited for the result of my second ever baby quilt. I've done a much better job at lining up edges and seams, though the binding could use some work. I think that finding complementary fabrics and patterns goes a long ways in quilt making. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to see more DIY projects such as this.